All right, hey guys, here we are, hole 3. You can see with this wind here, I'm kind of left with two decisions. I'm either going to go cruiser and try to basically assume, if I was to go this route, first off, I'd probably put some right spin, try to straighten out the bounce, but I also would just kind of anticipate and say, okay, well, I'm just going to treat this as I've already moved 4.5 rings, or for instance, I've already moved 5 rings for this, and I'm just trying to kind of focus on it landing right here in front of the hole, and then I can continue to count. Now, how much more would I go? I would think somewhere in the ballpark of another 1.5. So I would probably go right up here. But this isn't one of those shots that I can really precisely count, so it might not be something that I would want to do either. But this is more or less what my aim would be, and you'll see that I have that right spin because what I'm trying to do, there's a lot of left break right in front of the pin, so I'm just trying to straighten that out. Now that's if I wanted to kind of go the cheap route here, is what I would do. With the driver, I could probably get it in relatively close. It's not going to be very holeable, though, if I do go for that shot. So that's one of the main reasons you don't see me lining it up that way. So one of the things that I might do to kind of increase my hole out rate would be switching to this club here. And then in addition to this, you'll now see that we're kind of going to be pushing up towards the max line. So we need to think about how do we want to play this. So we can either go Pro D or we can start getting into some of our special balls. I'm thinking something along the lines of even a Vanquish, just to kind of, or, Vanquish or Black Widow ball is kind of what I'm thinking. Just kind of get that wind down, but also, not have to take advantage of something that might have a ton of side spin. We're using balls that are lower in the side spin because we're not going to really need the side spin for the shot. So, and as I mentioned, this is going to be just a little bit more of a precision play to potentially get the hole out. And that's why we're switching to this shot as opposed to the driver shot. But if I wanted to get this in the ballpark, I could do it that way, just to get it in the ballpark. Now, what would I do with my ring adjustment here? I'm thinking at least 4 rings here. I'm thinking maybe even something kind of 1.9-ish per ring, somewhere in the ballpark of that. So if I was to do this via calculator, I think it's somewhere around here. Maybe even a little bit more than this. So, and by more, you'll see that I'm using a less number because the division with larger numbers makes the ring adjustment larger. So I'm thinking maybe somewhere around here for this shot. So that's where I'm going to start to focus on the green as to where am I pulling on my screen. Thinking somewhere around here, right in the ballpark of this. So there we are. There's our ring adjustment. And hopefully, if we can factor in enough about this, we'll be able to give it a good chance, but it came in just a little bit hot. So just a tad. And one of the reasons that might happen is when you move the target, you'll see up there on this green, you can't really see it, but it's higher ground. So when I move the target to higher ground, what ends up happening is wherever my initial lineup is, even though I go the right, you can see I went the correct number of rings. And the easiest way to see that is because it hit the stick. I'm pretty much dead on, but what happened is since I moved the target to higher ground, it just launched. So instead of being, 0.2 rings shorter, it landed like 0.2 rings longer because the target moved to a higher elevation. So that's really what was at play and what made that miss. But the more that I can just kind of put it on the line, I wanted to stay fairly aggressive. with my ring adjustment and make sure that I didn't come up short, because there's a really big slope there and I didn't want that one to come up short. So I did want to keep that, just a little bit aggressive there, just to make sure that I didn't stop on the front lip, for example. And unfortunately, just came in just a little bit hot. But good luck with that hole, guys, and I will see you guys on 4 momentarily.